Hi, in this video we're going to have a little look at the ACES, the Academy Color Encoding System. There's not much to do, it's just for your information really. It's something that was developed I think a couple of years ago, no, 3 years ago, 2014. And what it is, in a very quick and layman's view, is that the old way of working that we've been working with in V-Ray or 3D Studio Max is the sRGB color space. You see how this is drastically changing the image, and we've sort of played with all these curves and so on with this color mapping changed to exponential as opposed to linear. Here we'll see that when we use linear we get these very harsh highlights and very black blacks. This is normal because there's no GI in here, but it's been something, if you've worked in the industry for any length of time, you've probably come across this idea of a linear workflow and color mapping and sRGB, and it's all been a bit of a nightmare for us to not only understand but to work with. So this is why this ACES is worth mentioning, especially that it seems to work. So what does it do? Well, if this is the sort of representation of the colors that we can see in this chromaticity diagram. I think this is this outer curve is the colors that we can see, and you can see that the sRGB system is is within the inside of that, so it's really clipping out a lot of colors, and it's definitely dated, and the ACES is the new version of it, and you can see that the ACES is able to englobe all the colors here, and it seems to work very well. So in practice, just to reiterate, if we work with all the exponential and sRGB, and this is all color correct in terms of setup, you can see that when I press render, I've got my light. It works quite well, and I'm here on exponential, so it's really not clipping in any way, as opposed to when I have it on linear. Here it's going to clip. But when I if you observe, while I increase my multiplier here, for example, if I set the image on 100, it's beginning to get brighter and brighter, and if I say I'm going to go way above, then we're losing information. And if I go to, say, 1000, then it's getting really beyond anything that works with. If this is a very bright light, I'm going to put it even 10,000, and it's completely gone. So here I am in Unreal with a similar sort of setup. So let's bring our light right up, and you can see that I'm reaching very bright light. So we've got, what have we got? 100,000. Okay, so that's that's very high value, and we've got some clipping here happening, but there's still a gradient. It's not completely washed out. So the reason for that is that the tone mapper here that was introduced in version 4.15, I think, or 4.16, is based on this ACES academic system, and so it works a little bit differently than the sRGB curve, because the curve in sRGB is sort of like this, whereas the tone mapper curve is more like an S curve that will be used to working with in Photoshop. So more interestingly, if we start adding a color to this light, for example, the same blue, we'll see that it behaves in a completely different way than it does in 3ds Max. Here, the color at very, very high intensity here is actually turned this kind of pinky color. And so I've gone and taken a picture of a light and see how that compares. So you see, this is a slide taken from one of the Epic webinars that I did online, and you can see this is a picture from an LED. And the brightest part of the light has turned completely white, and you can see that there's a gradient going away. So the way the light behaves in Unreal is correct, and on the other hand, the way the light behaves here in the render is incorrect. So while I'm here in this slide, I just highlight the response curve S shape, and so it will explain here the slope is going to give the angle of this black part of the curve. The toe is here, the bottom, so it's going to be like bring that forward in like the curves in Photoshop, and the shoulder is going to be the top part.